We got to talk about Biddy because a lot of people are not expecting what may just happen here real quick. But before we talk about it, let me just say the link for my X is in the description down below. And as you can see, these were our trades last week. We were longing the motherfucking farm. And, you could see that the TP profit was around 63.1. And 2 weeks ago, I made a video while we were, if this ever is going to load, while we were up here saying I made a swing short at 66.3K. I ended up accidentally closing it at around, let's say 60K. Accidentally closing it, but it worked out because that was the exact bottom. Last week we were longing, and then now we're here, okay? Now, I been spot on lately. I just got to say that. So if you're not in the Discord, make sure you join. The link is in the description down below. And shout out to the Nexus because the Nexus already know what I'm about to say right now. I'm going to go over my position that I'm in right now, and I'm going to go over what I'm kind of expecting, okay? Now, like I said, join or follow me on X. The link is in the description down below. I sometimes give you guys like free shit on there, but I want to talk about the Discord mainly. I want to talk about the Nexus here because we have been absolutely spot on lately. Even this morning, even yesterday, I gave video updates, and right before the pump happened yesterday, let's hold on. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth, but y'all just gonna have to chill with me here, okay? We were right here, okay? Right here on this very dot. I made a video update to the Nexus. Shouts out to the Nexus. Links in the description down below. I made a video update to the Nexus saying, Nexus, my goodness, my words. Okay, I'm gonna slow down. I made a video update saying this was gonna be a fake out red dot, even though we broke structure. It's gonna be a fake out red dot targeting these levels up here. We had two levels. They completely blew through one, which was, it wasn't exactly a short, like necessarily that I was going to take 100%. No, but I was watching in between the upwards point of control and the previous range point of control. I said no shorts yet. Yeah, you had a little bit of a move. It blew through that level, and then we shorted here this morning. So the Nexus and I are short this morning, and I want to go over why, and I want to go over what I might think or what I think might be happening next, okay? First things first, we talked about this a week ago, 2 weeks ago even. We talked about the manipulation that was in this range. When I took my swing short at 66.3, I said, if we lose this level, guys, it is very bearish. And if I see any form of retracement up back into this level after breaking structure, which we absolutely had, then I would be looking to add to my swing shorts. Now, in this case, I'm not looking to add to my swing shorts because I accidentally closed my swing short. So I opened a new position right at the high, and it was, I'm expecting it to potentially be a swing position. And it all comes down to the fact that there is so much volume in this range, and this was such a heavily manipulated range. And so when I did my analysis, I had this range cross over all the candles just like this. We came into a nice order block that I was ready and I was expecting, and the Nexus were ready on standby this morning. I was saying this morning that the move that we were having kind of stunk a little bit, and how this very much so seemed like one of those moves that are seemingly out of nowhere. And those seemingly out of nowhere moves where you get these nice strong green vector candles while money flow is still in the red and you're getting divergences across the board, those typically happen during New York's open. And that is your Brinks box play, okay? If you don't know what the Brinks box is, I have a video about the Brinks box, so I will put that in the description down below, so go check that out after this video. But, the move stunk, okay? It stunk. Everything about this move stunk, and especially because we came into this very heavily, remember, there's a lot of volume in this range, and it was a heavily manipulated range, and we broke that range to the downside. And then now we just came back up and retested this 2-hour order block that we had on the high. I think it was also the 786. So there was good confluence here, good volume here. And we swept some liquidity, okay? We had these like semi-equal highs, and we swept this liquidity. So where could we head to next? Where's my target for this swing short? And guys, like I said, we've been absolutely smashing it in the Nexus, and the proof of work is there. I'm in there every day. We're streaming every single day. We're talking about these moves every single day. We're talking about where the targets are, etc. And so right now, things are, I have to say, looking a little bit more bearish than they are bullish, and that's why I took this swing short position, and I'm hoping to get this printed. And if we pump a little bit more I will, obviously within reason, because I am a scalper, I will look to ride this bitch down. But let's just analyze the market cipher very quickly. Okay, let's start on the daily time frame. You know, daily time frame, yeah, it looks kind of bullish. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't. But what do we know about market cipher? Whenever you have a white dot or a red dot, you got to look to the left and say that these vectors can get recovered. Well, I'll tell you this. This move this morning recovered 50% of this pink vector candle. So this vector candle has already technically now been recovered. And, you know, yeah, the daily does look like it has momentum to the upside. However, what do we know about these single dots as a whole? These dots come as a result of the move. So we've already had an 8% move to the upside, and that's why we have this dot. Okay, now 12-hour also looks very promising, right, for the move to the upside. Same story, though. Same story as the daily. Now, it starts to get interesting around the 6-hour and around the 4-hour, because on the 6-hour and the 4-hour, which provide a lot more detail, you can start to see really that money flow is starting to come out. Guys, and you know, based on the order of operations with market cipher, money flow is your most important indicator, right? You know that the momentum waves are leading for, or sorry, the VWAP is leading for the momentum waves, and the momentum waves are leading for the money flow. And right now we have heavy money coming out right now. While we came into a zone that makes a lot of sense, we came in, we swept liquidity, we rejected from that zone very much so, and we have good targets to the downside. And I'm going to talk about these targets here in a moment, but based on the 6-hour, it doesn't look that bullish. Additionally, you had on this entire move up, you had excuse me, you had the RSIs spread out, which indicate not a very strong move. And now these RSIs are starting to come together. So that could give you a really strong push to the downside here. And again, we're going to talk about targets in just a minute, so make sure you watch till the end. But we're just going to continue. 4-hour time frame, money flows in the red. Look at how over the past, how many days is this? 4 days, give or take, over the weekend, you had price come up about 8%. However, money flow is not even getting higher. Not really. Ever so slightly, yes, but not really. And it's still in the red. You know, guys, this isn't a bullish sign. It definitely does not look bullish. Yes, obviously it could continue higher because the market seems to, during like really strong up-only moments, ignore all the divergences. But, you know, it's our job as traders to just identify what we have as a whole. So in addition to the 4-hour looking not great, the 6-hour looking not great, the 3-hour looking not great, the 2-hour is now starting to print, or has already printed this morning. We have a nice, strong bearish divergence on the 2-hour time frame. Okay, so that's obviously a bearish sign, right? We have a bearish divergence. 1 hour, we have spike waves, and we have a 3-tap spike wave here on the 1 hour. So once again, everything is in line with the idea that we might come down, we might push down here a pretty decent amount. And like I said, you know, we've been spot on with all the moves. We swing shorted from 66.3. We longed from this exact low from 60K-ish, give or take. I got in a little bit later because I didn't trust the move, because we were coming back into this manipulated move, and I just wanted to make sure. So I got in a little bit later, but again, on my Twitter, it's all there. All the setups were there. Shouts out to the Nexus, right? It was all there. So, you know, right now, when you're getting all these divergences on all these time frames, like this could really be a decent high. And I want to hide everything real quick because things can get, or I want to hide it because it'll look a lot easier, a lot cleaner for you guys to understand why I'm targeting potentially lower, okay? So my TP1 for this swing short is going to be down at 61.6K, okay? Why is it going to be 61.6? Well, if you've been around the channel, then you know that my favorite thing in all of trading is liquidity, okay? And typically when you have liquidity being generated like this, being built up like this, and you can draw a nice liquidity curve where no stop losses have been taken, right? Anybody that's been longing for the past few days have not been challenged on their longs really, like, I mean, in the slightest. I mean, you know, little moves here and there, sure. But I mean, ultimately, especially for the swing traders, right? If somebody wants to open up a position right now, a swing trade, which I would highly recommend against, but let's just say somebody wanted to swing long from here, then they would likely put their stop loss below here. So there is a lot of liquidity below these lows. And so that's going to be where I believe that market makers may send the price. This is a relatively easy move to take back because of the liquidity that has been left behind. And we have equal lows here. So, you know, that would be effectively my TP1. Now, it is possible for Bitcoin to bounce here, and the reason why my take profit on this is so shallow is because I don't know where the TP is going to be yet. If this gives me the trade setup that I'm looking for with the confirmation that I'm looking for, okay? And the reason why is because we're going to have to analyze where the target is based on what structure is looking like. And I think structure is very interesting right now. I think a lot of people have structure wrong. And so once again, if you give me a few minutes here, I will get to structure because, structure will help us identify targets that are potentially much lower than 61.6. And we're going to go over that, effectively right now. So let's zoom out a little bit here. Okay, let's zoom out. And again, shout out to the Discord and the Nexus, because the Nexus already knows this, but we need to go over our structure. There's a reason why I swing shorted at 66.3. And there is a reason why I was talking about for the past week adding to my swing short at around this level. Okay. And ultimately it all comes down to structure. Now, there are many ways to interpret structure. Okay. And I'm going to show you how I am interpreting structure. The first thing you need to understand is that we are in a range, within a range, within a range, within a range. So everything is internal right now. Okay. It's very difficult to correctly analyze what structure is. And I don't believe that there is necessarily a right or wrong answer definitively, but I think that the way that I'm interpreting it makes sense. And, I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing. You guys do whatever you want to do, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So right now, based on the structure that we have from this low, I don't really think it matters. The macro stuff, we already know we're all internal. This is your structure. The whole internet thinks that you put in a higher low to make a higher low and a higher high. That's all internal, right? You're internal between this high and this low. So everything is still internal. We've been internal since August. It's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is, right? But I don't care about that. That's a little bit too macro for my liking, but I do care about this low. So if you're going to interpret your structure, like I said, there's a couple ways to do so, right? On the 12-hour time frame, this is how I would draw my structure. I would draw it down, up, down. I would skip all of this because that looks ugly, okay? Some people would probably draw it like this, and you could. I'm not saying you can't, but just to give the benefit of the doubt for Bitcoin, we're in a bull market and there's so much liquidity above. Just to give it the benefit of the doubt, I'm not going to actually count that as my 12-hour or daily high. I'm going to do it more so like this. Oops, if I can get it done. Like this, where I am effectively allowing price to come all the way down to 57.4 while still remaining bullish on the 12-hour time frame. That's going to be important here in just a minute, because remember how I skipped this level here. If we come down on the 4-hour time frame, okay, 4 hours a little bit different because it looks a little bit cleaner. So your 4-hour structure, remember the 12-hour, we skipped that. So your 12-hour low, we're counting down here at 57.4. However, your 4-hour is undeniably this. Okay, that is undeniable. Now, what people may do or may opt to do that might, flip the 4-hour a little bit more bullish, which is, still like, when it comes to structure and how you interpret things, it's all subjective, right? But this is how I'm doing it. So your 12-hour low is down here. When it comes to the 4-hour absolutely flipped bearish. Okay, the 4-hour absolutely flipped bearish. And you remember how in this zone on the 12-hour time frame, I didn't count it because it just looked a little bit too clustered for me? That's the same story here on the 4-hour. So while many people would draw their 4-hour structure down, up, down SFP, and then broke back to bullish, for me, the way I'm interpreting it is because I had to skip this entire zone on the 12-hour time frame and, effectively leading this low here to be my 12-hour higher low. It's all internal, by the way. But effectively making that my higher low, then I have to do the same thing on the 4-hour here. I have to be as objective as possible and not really try to make structure go in one way or the other. And so by following that little cluster rule here on the 12-hour, I must follow the cluster rule here on the 4-hour, which means that for me, my 4-hour structure is still bearish. Okay, we have a nice bearish break of structure here on the 4, and so what we're looking for right now is a flip on the 15-minute time frame to confirm our lower high on the 4-hour, which could potentially bring us down to the 12-hour low, if not lower. And this is an update I gave you guys on Friday. I was on my way to a wedding and I was driving and I just explained everything because I couldn't show you it. That's what I was saying. I said, I think it's important right now on this uptrend to pay attention to our 10 to 15 minute time frame, because as soon as that bitch flips to bearish, man, it's not good, especially when we have all this liquidity below us that we could easily make a run for. Now, we're in a very interesting position right now, because right now, your 10 to 15 minute structure is being tested as we speak. Okay, your 10 to 15 minute structure right now, we're going to skip some points because it doesn't matter. We're on the 15, is down, up, down, up, down, doesn't matter because we flip back to bullish. So we have up, we have down, we have up, we have down, we have up, which means, which means that this low right here is your 15-minute low. Okay, And if I turn on my structure point, oh, okay, that was the point. That was the low at the time. Now it moved to this because we made a new high. So this is our 15-minute low that we are watching for. In the event that Bitcoin gets a nice 15-minute candle close with conviction below this low, that, based on structure theory, confirms this as your 4-hour lower high. Okay, now it doesn't confirm it, but it basically is giving us the clue that that could have been the lower high. Now, when you pair that with the idea that Market Cypher had all these divergences, that could significantly bring us lower. And remember what happens, right? If you lose your 15-minute low, then you're likely going to come to your 4-hour low, which is down here. Could we come down here? Absolutely, we could. Why? Because we have a lot of liquidity here. We got a lot of liquidity here. We got a lot of liquidity here. We have the equal lows here, and that's going to be my TP1 on my swing short, like we already went over. So absolutely, it is a very easy move to get back down to 59.6 or whatever the case is, right? Whatever that number is, 59.8. Very easy to get back to that. Shouldn't be very hard to get there in the event that that Bitcoin decides to make a move to the downside here. Now, if you start closing 4-hour candles below here, then you are very likely going to make your way down to the 12-hour low. And the 12-hour low is a little bit more interesting because, like I said, this is a potential swing short and we've been spot on lately. But it's a little bit more interesting because it's not as simple as just this being a 12-hour internal low like I have drawn here on my structure. You can see that even on this final leg up, or not final, but this most recent leg up, you also left quite a bit of liquidity to the downside. And so we do have an order block right beneath, okay? Right beneath. We have a nice 3-hour order block just beneath this 12-hour low. If you lose this 15-minute low and you start closing below it, you're probably going to come to the 4-hour low. If you start closing below this, you're probably going to come to the 12-hour low. And if you start closing below the 12-hour low, in my opinion, October, I don't know, man. It's looking a lot more like, at the very least, 52.4 is going to be in the cards again. Okay? It's looking like it. So, look, I'm going to make it simple. You close a 15-minute low here at 62.6. Is that it? Yeah, 62.6, 15-minute low close. In my opinion, you come to 59. Okay, 59.9. You close a 4-hour here, you come to 57.5. You start closing 12-hour candles, daily candles here, you're coming down to this low, and you start losing this, you're coming down to here. Now, of course, we have order blocks along the way, right? There's a nice order block right here that we could SFP this low as well. We could come down, SFP that low, and then go straight back up. Absolutely, that is in the cards. You know, my job is not to predict. I don't make predictions anymore. I just analyze what's in front of me based on the data that comes to all of us at the same time in real time. So I can't say, oh, like, I don't know if this 4-hour candle is going to close or if it's just going to SFP. I can't tell you that, right? We have order blocks down here and we're looking for trades here. And if I see the confirmations, I will go long. So don't come at me in a week and say, ha, this didn't age well if it doesn't happen. Because what I'm saying is, if this happens, then this is likely going to happen. And if this happens, then this is likely going to happen. And if this happens, this is likely, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all in order, but I can't predict whether these candles are going to close there or not. I can only present to you what's happening right now. Okay. And that's, you know, what's the differentiation from the good traders and the bad traders, is being able to adapt and not, you know, just necessarily stick to one idea and one bias, and, you know, be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Be like, I guess, just adaptive, you know? All right. Why else could we come down if this is going to be a significant high? I mean, first of all, everybody and their mother is screaming for October still. People are very bullish. And I guess this is a good time to talk about the... I mean, I don't trade like this at all, guys. You know this. The Bitcoin FAG index. I mean, like, last month was extreme fear. Last week was 61. Like, last month was 23. The last week was 61. Now is neutral. Like, dude, the FAG index, people are so emotional. I don't know... like, who really trades using this. I don't recommend using that. I do it because I don't do it, but I bring it up because I'm a creator and people, you know, want to know about it. But I mean, this FAG index, like, people are, first of all, I don't even know how it's calculated, but this is mad emotional, man. People are mad emotional. Like, they need to chill out. They need to, yeah. Anyways, too emotional, way too emotional. Okay, why else could we come down? Well, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which we talked about last time. We have a CME gap, guys, down at 54K. Okay, don't think that we can't come back to that just because it's October. Now, I don't know if we have another CME gap. I thought we did over this past weekend, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you know, we take it level for level. But the reason I'm bringing up the CME gap at 54K is, like I said, you know, if you start closing below here, you're probably going to come to here. If you start closing below here, you're probably going to come to here. If you start closing below here, well, where's our next like level that we could come to? Well, the CME gap, like I said, is 54K, and that 54K is in line here with all that liquidity, right? So while the entire internet is saying, oh yeah, look, we made a higher low to make a higher high, even though that is, at least based on the structure that I follow, that is completely incorrect, right? That's not structure at all. That's internal. Your actual external structure is this. So you didn't make a higher high yet anyways. But because the whole internet's saying that, and then what I imagine they're going to start doing is longing the golden pocket that's here. And then, you know, eventually, where is our golden pocket? Let's see where's our GP at? Where's our GP7? Yeah, so our 786 is at 55.4, yet the CME gap is at 54, right? Where's the CME gap? Let me just make sure. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 54. So 54 to 55 is the CME gap. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between the two exchanges. That's fine, right? But my point is, you know, there's a potential that many people will try to long this area, not knowing that there's a CME gap, and then we lose this low. Like, look, we're gonna have to wait and see. But my whole idea here is I'm swing short right now. If things change, I will let you know. The Nexus will know first. It's not always easy for me to come and make one of my longest videos, 21-minute video right now, currently, right? But you know, it's a very, if this happens, then I will react kind of market. Market Cipher is showing very, like, I wouldn't say it's the most cautious bearish signs in the world, you know, saying 30K. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But it's not good. It's not good. We have hidden bearish divergences. Money flows in the red. We have vector candles that we can come and recover to the downside. You know, when we look to the left here, you have vectors that we never came back to. Right? And we know the rule is whenever you see a red dot, you got to look to the left and say that these vectors can get recovered. They can. Doesn't mean they're going to, but it's irresponsible for you to think that, no, we can't come back down to 57, up only, it's October. You can't think like that. You have to take the market as objective as possible. And so that's why I think that if this move ends up playing out, I mean, like I said, guys, this is very easy liquidity to take. If this move ends up playing out and we do come down, it's going to take a lot of people off guard. A lot of people off guard. But not you, because you are here and you hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so you don't miss these updates if you're not in the Nexus, which you should, because the link is in the description down below. But anyways, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now, you know? And then if we continue higher, guys, if we continue higher, like, I'm all for it. I have long positions ready to go. Well, I have long setups. I'm not in any longs at the moment. I actually told the Nexus this morning. Let me find my Nexus. What did I say? Right here. This morning on stream, we said this is the move seemingly out of nowhere. This is the zone that oh, here's the other position I was looking at. But this is the position that we were looking at, you know. I said pay attention here. And then I said this is the seemingly out of nowhere move, which I already explained to you guys. So far, the level is leveling. I have taken significant profits on the longs. That means, by the way, I took 90% out, 95 even. I took out so much on the longs, and then I went short. And then now we're here, right? So we will have to see what happens. Again, I'm a reactionary trader. If we come down to a long zone, which I have a few, I got a few, my Nexus, we're ready. If we get to one of those zones and we see the confirmation or I see the market cipher divergences that I want to see, I will absolutely take those longs and I will absolutely try to hold it up as much as I can. But I think it is very important for us to remember our structure, because although everybody thinks we made a higher high, first of all, we didn't. Second of all, if you're going to go by that logic, you know, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt saying that this 12-hour low is going to hold, even though it doesn't have to. And even though we do have reason, as I illustrated in this video, to go below that, like the CME gap, like this order block here. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But if I do that and I don't call this a higher low, higher high, and the 12-hour flip bearish, then I can't say that the 4-hour flipped bullish here. So the 4-hour is bearish. We'll still call the 12-hour bullish because I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, although I am leaning a little bit more bearish than I am bullish at the moment. You know, we've been longing the whole time, so it's all good, but, you know, all good things come to an end. And one last thing I want to say is that even if this was a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher, this is barely a break, guys. This is barely a break. This is setting you up for a potential PO3. Like, this looks like shit. Doesn't look the best. And it does look like, you know, even if you get those PO3s, we have, like this short I did was a PO3, right? Like when you get poor breaks, which I've talked about many times on this channel, when you get poor breaks like that, there's nothing to write home about here. This is like, if I saw this and this was external structure, I still would not call this a break of structure. I still wouldn't. It's not enough of a break. You're telling me that they came back up, let's just say from here, right? Let's just say it was all external structure. They came up 25%. They came up 25% only to break the high by 1.33%. Like, come on, guy, get real, get real. After coming into a very important liquidity sweep and an order block, like, and then you had that big of a reaction to the downside, get real. Anyways, I've been rambling for 25 minutes and you're probably sick of my voice, but if you made it to the very end, I thank you very much for watching. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell. If you would like to join the Nexus, the link is in the description down below. I am having some issues at the moment because we're changing domains. The new domain is enterthenexus.com instead of tradewithgeo.com. But if you're having any issues, please open up a ticket and we will take care of it in a very timely manner. Hopefully this whole thing gets resolved this week. But anyways, listen. I'm an if-then trader. If this happens, then I do this. If that happens, then I do this. Shouts out to the Nexus. Trade safe, my friends. I will see you in the next one.